But yes, hello. My name's Genevieve. I'm the marketing manager at RefinedWiki, and today I'm going to take you through some of the biggest new features that we released at the beginning of June in the new release of RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk. As with all webinars, if you do have any questions, you're welcome to enter them into the chat, and we'll address them at the end. So let's get into this. Cool. So I got from the feedback when you guys signed up that most of you are actually somewhat familiar with our apps already, which is great. So I'll only briefly cover how it works. And yeah, just to give you an idea of where we've come from with this app. So we released it onto the marketplace last March, so March 2017, and it's seen a really great uptake since then. So exciting stuff for this product. And what I'm showing you now is the past 180 days of active installations. So that's a very nice little linear graph there, and we're now looking at almost over 800. So that's great. But today, what I'm going to take you through is, as I said very briefly, what is RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk. Then we're going to cover new features. And as I tell you each of the new features, I will show you different ways that you could implement the feature yourself. So just to get us in the headspace of RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk, let's say you have this company support site, and this company is using Jira Service Desk for their support. And what they want in this company is to be able to make their Jira Service Desk customized and branded, and they also want to be able to extend it beyond the internal IT team. They want to get the whole company on board and using this product. So they decide that they need to do a few customizations to make that happen smoothly. And then they realize that unfortunately they can't do much in terms of customization beyond changing around the header. So then they decide to give RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk a try. And what this means is they can add their branding, they can customize a lot of parts of the Jira Service Desk. They can bring content closer to the user on the landing page. And now they can also add a lot of structure to Jira Service Desk so that it can be really expanded beyond just one single team. So I'm going to go into more detail on that part. So let's have a look at some of the features that we've released at the beginning of June. So the first one I'm going to talk about is site and category structure, because this is probably the biggest feature. And if you're familiar with our app for Confluence Server, it's called RefinedTheme for Confluence Server, then you'll already be familiar with the site and category structure. But here's a bit of an overview for you to paint the picture. So here you see on the left a default Jira Service Desk. So on a default Jira Service Desk, you have the Help Center, and then you have individual service desks that sit under that Help Center. So with RefinedTheme and the category and site structure, what we do is we add, so here are your service desks. We add the option of having a category to organize your service desks into, and then these categories can be organized into sites. But this is all optional. So if you wanted to just have a very simple structure where you have your London Help Centre with the portals, that's possible. If you want to go beyond this and have 2 sites, that's also possible. So now I'm going to actually show you different ways that you could structure your Jira Service Desk using the site and category concept. So here we have the simple structure. So we have the London Help Centre, and then the portals that sit under that. And if you're migrating from Jira Service Desk to RefinedTheme for Jira Service Desk, by default, this is how your structure will be, and then it's up to you to expand and build on that. But I'll show you how we do that later. And then we might add the category level. And here, here you can theme and customize the layout on each of these levels. So you can theme and customize the customer portals, you can theme and customize the category landing pages, and you can customize the sites. And I'll also show you a bit more clearly what I mean by that. All right, so then let's say the company is really expanding out. So we still have our global site, so the London Help Centre. We still have the categories and the Jira Service Desk that sit beneath those categories. But now we've added an additional site. And this could be like an example of a use case, for like how you might want to use it. So if you've got a support service in London and a support service in Berlin, and you want to have them in the one Jira Service Desk product, but you still want to tailor it to the different locations. And here is another example. So this is the same structure, but in this case, you could have, so on the left, you see internal site, which means that you might say, I only want my IT team to see the contents on this Jira Service Desk, whereas I want all my logged in customers to see everything else. So what we would do is we add permissions to this internal site so that it's only certain X users that you decide seeing this site. And this part, this is also a new feature, so I'm gonna go into more detail on that for you as well. So this is the last example of how you could use the sites and category structure, and this has come through our support service in the form of a request. So what people have asked for is, could we have some customer portals themed with your nice branding and theme and customization, and others just the normal Jira Service Desk user interface. And now this is possible. And the way you would do this is you have your Jira Service Desk Help Center with the normal Jira Service Desk look. And then you add a site. And if you add a site, that site will always have our RefinedTheme look and feel. But here you can see we've added a site, and then we've themed the categories and the customer portals within that. But under the Help Center, we could also add a category here and theme the category. And as you can see here, we've added 3 customer portals. One of them we've decided we want to be themed, but these 2 we don't. So as long as the things that you want to look like normal Jira Service Desk sit under the Help Center, then this is possible. All right, so I've shown you all the diagrams. So now I'm going to actually show you what this looks like in the real product. So let's navigate to the Help Center home. So this is the global site home. And here you get a bit of an idea of how a global site home could look. And I'll show you how we've set up the sites in this case. So here you can see an internal site. We'll have a quick look at that and say this could be an external site, so the customer support center. Yep, and let's go back to the Help Center. And now I'll show you how the levels will play out in the real thing. So now we're on a site level, internal site. Then we've navigated to a category level. So I'm on the IT support category. And here you can see we've also listed the support portals so your internal team could file a ticket from here. And now I've actually navigated to a customer portal. And here you can see that in the breadcrumbs, the layout. All right. So let's move on. So now I'm going to show you how you could actually set up this real example. And the way we do this is with the site builder. So now with the new release, almost all your configuration is done in the site builder. And I'm going to take you through that now. So if we open up the site builder from the global site home. So here we're on the site builder. And I'm going to navigate down and I'll show you how you would add a site. Easy, just like that. Add a site, add your name. And this is how you would add a category. Very easy. And this is where your default customer portals, by default, this is where your customer portals will come when you migrate to our product. There you can see the internal site, our event support service. And now in customer support service, we're going to create a new category called products because we have a lot of customer portals relating to products, but no way of organizing them. We could also add permissions to this. So say I only want product X customers to see this. But in this case, we'll leave it with the logged in users. And then I'm going to organize the customer portals into the category like so. Oh, fix that one up a little bit. Yep, there she goes. And yep, so now we have the 3 products organized into the category, and now we'll navigate to that category from the site builder. All right, so now we're on the category home within the customer support center, and we'll edit this a bit so that it looks a bit nicer. We've got some text variables in action. We'll change the text around a bit. Yep, and I'll hit save on that. And then if we scroll down, this is the content layout editor view. We don't need to change the service desks and categories, but let's add a quick link navigation to the documentation page for product X. We'll chuck in our link there. Happy with that icon. We'll hit save and we'll save again. And just to give you an idea of how it could look. Yeah. So here we have your product home, some service desks, and there's our quick link to the documentation. And if I go back to the customer support center home, here you can see the site that category sits in. All right, excellent. So the next thing I'm going to tell you about is view permissions. So I've covered sites and categories. It can sound like it's, there's a lot to it, but essentially there's a lot of options, and when you use the product, you will realize which option and which structure will work for you. But the next thing is how we actually set up the structure so that some users will see some content and others won't, and vice versa. So a very easy example is Rose here from IT. She only cares about information that concerns her team and her department. She doesn't care about what's happening in the HR department. So we want to make it so Rose is engaging with the IT content. And this is possible. And this is possible on a number of levels. So here's the overview of of view permissions and how they work. So again, we have our help center, our global site help center, and we have an additional site. So on the help center, so this is where your requests live, and this is the global help center. The only permissions you can add here are to say, I want this help center to be anonymous or viewable to logged in users only. But if we added a category to that help center, we could limit that to a user group or a user. We could also say we want it to be seen by anonymous or logged in users. And by default, the settings will be inherited from the parent site. And then with permissions on the portal, these need to be configured in Jira Service Desk. All right. So then if I look at an additional site, so here we have the Berlin Help Center. So I can actually say, because this is an additional site, I can say, yep, I only want this Berlin Help Center to be seen by the German team, for example. And that's the same again with the categories that might sit beneath that. And again, with the portals, this needs to be configured in Jira Service Desk. So I hope that gives you a nice overview, but I'm actually going to take you into how this works now. So, all right. So ways to work with view permissions. So here in our demo example, so this is a company that we're like a fake company called Real Studios. And in their use case, they want the people who work within Real Studios to be able to see this internal site as well as the other pages, but they want the customers who are logging in to get support to not see that internal site. So I'm going to show you how we would actually set that up. And here are the step-by-step instructions. So first you would create the user group in Jira. So in this case, it would be all company users. Then you go into the site builder that I showed you before. You add your view permissions to the relevant site. So we would open up the edit icon, in this case, on the internal site and add all company users. So I'm going to show you now how we do that. So let's open up the site builder. All right, let's scroll down to our internal site. Yep, we'll click the edit icon, view permissions, and here you can see the different options for view permissions. So in this case, I'm going to select group and let's add all company users, which we already created in Jira. Save that. And now we know that this internal site, because you can see the lock there, this internal site will only be visible for those in the all company user group. Boom, this is what they're going to see. Great. So another example that I want to give you with view permissions is how you could limit content on a site, a category, or a customer portal to users. And this is a similar process to what I just went through. So you create the user group in Jira. So an example could be finance users. Then you go into the content layout editor on either the site home, the category home, or the customer portal, and then you add view permissions to the relevant content. So in our case, it would be on the site home, we can add view permissions to a section, which I'm going to show you, and we only want that section to be visible to the people on the finance team. So here's the example. So we're back on the internal site home, and here I I'm logged in, but I'm not on the finance team, so I can't see what's in this block here. However, if we were to, here we go, this is how you set up the settings. So if I add to the settings and say, yep, so this is how I would configure the view permissions on this site. So here I would say, yes, I only want finance users to be able to see the content in this particular section here. So you can set up permissions per section. And then if I logged in now as a finance user, I would see this block of content. So that's a really, really nice way of showing the content that matters to the right user. Great. So the last main thing I'm going to tell you about today is the customizable footer. And this one is very straightforward. So essentially you have your, as I've shown you a few times, you have your landing pages in the form of site, category, or customer portal. And now on each site, you can set a customized footer. So you can either have like here you see the global footer, or you can set it for each individual site. Actually, I should correct myself there. You have to set the footer for each individual site, and by default it will have this banner across the bottom saying powered by RefinedTheme and Jira Service Desk. But I'll show you how you can edit this. So here you go, edit footer layout, and here you can add in the same modules that you can put on any landing page. So navigation image, HTML module, quick links, pictures, whatever it is that you want, you can add there now. So that's a really nice addition to the new release. And finally, I'm just going to tell you a few smaller things that you might want to work with. So we have one of the new modules that we've included is called a rich text editor, and it just means plain text on one of your content layout pages. We've also added a module called navigation image, which works the same as navigation icon, except it's an image now, so you can upload an image. Because we have the category and site structure, now you can add a module to the category or the site that lists both the category and the Jira Service Desks that sit beneath that. So that's a very helpful one. One of our modules is an option to be able to display knowledge base articles, and now you can say, instead of having a whole list of a lot of them from a certain Confluence knowledge base, you can say, no, I only want to show 4 at a time. So you get the topmost 4. And there's a lot more I can tell you about, like the text variables, and yeah, there's a lot of things. But the best thing to do, if you haven't done this already, is to try it from the Atlassian marketplace, play around with it, get a feel, and if you do have any questions and troubles along the way, then we have a really good documentation site with tons of information and tutorials on there. So visit that. And if you run into technical help, we have a support service at support.refinewiki.com, and we're running RefinedTheme Jira Service Desk on that, of course. So now I've come to the question time. So I'll just open up all right, I can see some questions here. Okay, I'm going to read the questions out in case you can't see them. So this person would like to know, is there any feature planned to customize request categories in the customer portal? Right now, it's only single linear way in refined themes for Jira Service Desk. So I think you mean, is there any feature planned to customize the way that we display, say, my requests, or the way that we display the service desks and categories? And the answer is request types. I've just seen the fix there. So at the moment, when you add the module request types, you can customize it in Jira Service Desk itself. So in Jira Service Desk, you can upload a different icon, and you can you can remove request types, or you can add request types. So that part is actually done in Jira Service Desk, and then it will automatically feed into our product. But another workaround could be you could just add a navigation icon and upload it as an image and use that to directly link to to that customer portal of the request type. Yeah. But I think the best thing to do is to look in your Jira Service Desk and play around with the icons there. Next question is, are there any plans to make the standard Jira Service Desk login page customizable? Great question. I believe the answer is not at the moment. I think I'm going to have to get back to you on that, because I'm not sure about the answer. But I think we're a bit limited in what we can do with the login there. Actually, hold on a second. I can see that one of my colleagues has chimed in here, so I'll throw this question over to him.
So hi everyone, I'm Emil. So this is a feature request that we get a lot. We are looking into it. There is some technical challenges that we need to overcome, but this is definitely something that we want to do. But there is no dates, and we can't say when it's coming out. But this is highly prioritized by us.
Great, thanks, Emil. Awesome. So I can't see any more questions, but it sounds like we answered that one, so that's great. But if you do have any more questions, then please contact support.refinedwiki.com. Submit a ticket there. And so thanks very much for tuning in today, everyone. And I hope now you have a bit of a clearer understanding of the really neat features that we've shipped in the 2.x release. Thanks very much.